What is going on, guys? It is a special day finally. I picked up my transmission and my converter from FTI yesterday, and I'm happy to have them back home. Fresh rebuild. And then we added a internal dump valve, that's why this fitting is in the case right here. And that's what this little guy is. And then I got my converter restalled. It's a couple hundred RPM tighter than what it was before. So I'm excited to see how this change makes with my car. So already I've been running an external dump valve, which is basically, it takes the fluid out of the torque converter and it puts it right back in the oil pan of the trans to reduce the pressure to make the converter looser. Well, now I just added a second dump valve. So now it should spool up even faster than it did before, even with the torque converter being tighter. So the plan right now is to bolt the converter, or put the converter in the trans, bolt the trans to the engine, and stuff these back in the car tonight. So the car tonight will, one thing I'm really excited about is we'll finally see how the car is going to look with the new Holley intake manifold. One thing I've been waiting for. My biggest fear, and I'll be honest, is the fact that the firewall is going to be close to here. So I'm really curious on how my electrical connectors are going to be. I hope that's not going to be that much of an issue. I am praying, because they do stick out a little bit past the firewall. I hope it works, because for me to rewire this car right now, I would be very sad. I'd be very sad. It just adds another week worth of project and a few $100s in money. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this all moved around. I got to pull the intake manifold back off. Put the lift plate on, and let's get going. I'm excited. So now we just got the converter bottomed out in the trans. Now I don't know if this is audible on camera. You can't, you won't be able to hear it. So in the converter, we actually now have a diode. So on traditional converters, you can have either a Sprag, which is like a gear directional. You have Spragless, which means it's like direct drive. And now I have what's called a diode, means I can only spin one direction. I don't really know what that means, but that's what they tell me. So whenever you have the converter to the trans, you can actually spin it one way, you don't hear anything, and you spin it back. It's like a ratchet clicking like a ratchet. So get these two mated back together and get ready to line up in the car. I'm excited. And would you look at that? The engine hoist is all folded up, and I never recorded it just because it's a struggle trying to do this crap alone. I'll be honest, I did put the intake on already, and I'm looking at it now, and it's just like, it looks so freaking stupid. Anyway, without further ado, this is a Holley low ram with a built-in air-to-water intercooler in a Miata. So my biggest fear is that I don't have enough room for my electrical connectors right there between the intake and the firewall, and honestly, it's not looking that bad. So I think I'll actually be okay, and that makes me tremendously happy. The only thing I will have to do is extend my TPS. So I actually bought this dealio. It's like a extension harness. So I'm actually gonna keep my wiring harness alone and just add this extension harness if I need it. And hopefully that'll be, it's a lot easier than trying to cut up my harness and do whatever to it. So, but this looks freaking killer. So now this weekend I definitely have to mock up the fuel stuff and get other stuff situated. I'm thinking about running the fuel pressure regulator right here in the front of the engine, since there's a lot of open space here now. But yeah, this thing is, I mean, what to expect. It's a big ass intake manifold on a Miata, so of course it's gonna be sticking out the hood a bunch. But the cool thing is I wanna sit inside the car and show you the view from there. So this is basically the POV of me driving the car, and I mean, as you can see, it's a big boy. So you can definitely see that there. Now I will say I did get some more progress done this week on the rest of the car. Well, on one section of the car. So I'm going to show you that now. So going over the trunk of the car, this is basically going to be the rough layout. I had to move the gas tank so it could be lengthways like this. That way this right here will be the ice box for the air to water intercooler. Obviously nothing's bolted in here just yet. One thing I did do, which unfortunately I don't have a light near me. Let me take the gas tank out and I will show you. All right, so now I got the trunk kind of disassembled. So basically what I had to do is this whole area got notched. And then I ended up welding a plate on the side, and flat bottom here. That way, you know, the trunk was relatively sealed. I obviously still have this hole from previous things. I'm not sure if I'm gonna fill it in. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether it's open or closed, honestly. I might end up using that same hole to run my lines through for the intercooler, for the icebox, so I might just leave it. But this is pretty much how it's gonna be. I do wanna kind of grind off the welds a little bit and address it a little bit better because I'm not that good with this MIG welder. It's ugly. But I definitely got to paint the trunk, and then I can start working on the fuel system because I have to basically make a new feed line coming from the tank to the pump. Got to make a new one of those. And then the trunk should be pretty much tied up back here. Obviously I got to mount the two tanks, but back here, looking pretty good. Now let's crawl into the car for a minute. Obviously you can see we're underneath the transmission. You know, I got a new fresh transmission pan because my other one I ended up cracking, unfortunately. So now you can see this little guy right here, and that's called the internal dump valve. So it's actually tapped inside the trans to let pressure come out of the torque converter. But what I'm really excited about is the fact that it fits really with no problem in here. I mean, it's tight, but I mean, I can fit my finger all the way around the edge of it. And I was definitely worried about space issues, but fortunately now that's good. I just have to make a couple of these hoses and we are Gucci. So got a lot of stuff to tie up. I mean, I gotta put the drive shaft back in, you know, get some stuff in the back situated. I mean, these control arms look so damn good. I'm really excited for this like revamp. The car definitely needed it. You know, on the toll of keep going faster and faster. You know, I want to make this car as quick as possible. Obviously, we're going to run into limitations this year as far as traction and I would assume the engine. But we don't know. I mean, these guys push these stock bottom end motors really far. And I mean, I still have a lot of timing and a lot of boost to put in mine. So I'm not sure how greedy I want to get with the power. You know, I can leave it turned down at where it's at right now. Honestly, the engine's super happy. Plug readings are great, coolant pressure is great, head gaskets are happy. So I'm not sure how far I'm willing to take this engine, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with the progress of the car. I'm definitely going to be working on it this weekend. I'm probably done for the day just because I have other stuff that I need to finish today. So anyway, it's bright. This really hurts my eyes, but it was a pleasure talking to you guys today. And I'll be recording tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see you then. Have a good one.